its certain negative effects. But as far as the curative effects of alcohol are concerned, that's not forbidden. The orthodox mullahs consider it to be haram in every case, while they know themselves that to save life you can even eat the flesh of swine. So alcohol is less haram than the flesh of swine. Yet, as a life-saving device or means, one is many times compelled to eat pork or whatever it is, if there is a real danger to life. So alcohol or anything else, if it is life-saving,
Right.
it's not haram.
See, because most situations where we would prescribe mouthwashes are not actually life-threatening situations.
But where it's not essential as lifesaver, it should be considered haram. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sayyid Mansoor Ahmed. I'm a psychology student at Greenwich University. I'm in my first year. Hazur, as I'm in my first year, I've only actually touched upon Carl Jung.
Do you practice psychiatry?
No.
Thank God. Yes, please.
Well, I've just touched upon Carl Jung. I'm not sure if you know of him or not. He was a student of Freud's. Then he broke away from Freud because he didn't agree with Freud's interpretation of libido.
He must be a sensible person.
Right. I find him extremely interesting, and I was extremely interested in his concept of the unconsciousness, and especially his concept of the collective unconsciousness, in the way that my collective unconsciousness consists of all my ancestors' knowledge, and it all is passed down onto me.
Correct.
And I'd like to know.
Even the animal's knowledge and experience is passed on to you, and your brain is a storehouse of memory of the past, even when you were not a human in this world. Well, maybe, I don't say you were ape, of course. What I mean to say is that any form of animal life left its mark on the brain, developing brain. And that brain went on increasing and collecting all the memories of the past, which are never wasted. So this is my personal theory as well,
Right.
which I found true in application as well. So if he speaks of that, I fully agree with him.
Right. My second
But
question.
he is only talking of perhaps human experience and human ancestors.
Yes.
I go much beyond that.
Right.
I say all the animal experience has been preserved in your system without your realizing it. And that has gone, for instance, into immunology. All the threats to life of animals created a reaction after a long experience. That reaction is stored in your immunological system. So that is why whenever it is needed to be recalled, you send a homeopathic signal, and it takes time for starting producing that particular antibody in the human factory,
Right.
which is in the perhaps bone marrows. But it recalls that something from a very remote past and begins to develop your antibody in accordance with the need of the time.
My second question is sort of slightly ties in with this one. Apparently, in everyday existence, we use a very small percentage of our brain, the potentialities of our brain. Some people in religions have prescribed disciplines, for example, ritual magic or George Gurdjieff's fourth way, which help to increase this percentage and therefore expand our consciousness. From my limited understanding of Islam, I don't see any disciplines like this in Islam. And if there aren't any, why aren't there any?
What? The last part?
Disciplines, he doesn't see any disciplines like that in Islam which extend the use of the brain. He percentage use of the brain?
Your question is not clear to me, and it's not clear to them either.
Right, I'll just repeat it again.
Huh?
In everyday existence, we use apparently we use a very small percentage of our brain.
That part is understood, but what
Okay.
was the end part?
Right. Well, some people prescribe disciplines. For example, there's ritual magic, and there's George Gurdjieff's fourth way, where they do stuff like.
You see, this disciplining is essential, but these magic, those people who go for magic in creating discipline, I completely disagree with them. The magic does not produce any discipline in you. The best discipline is created by Islamic teachings. When you study your own self, you critically examine your inner being and have a habit of implying your concentration on yourself with truth. There are two types of introspective studies. One is wishful thinking and trying to imagine things in yourself which do not exist. But some indications may lead you on to those things which are complementary to you in a manner, and you are very happy with such a study. This is spurious. It doesn't mean anything. If you search for defects in yourself with honesty, it is only this which will create discipline. So this magic you are talking about is all hocus pocus. It doesn't create that sense of responsibility at all.
Right. Well, the ritual magic isn't actually, to be honest, concerned too much with magic itself. It's more of disciplines like yoga.
I've seen people on television involved in this ritual magic, and I have read their literature. I still believe that it's hocus pocus.
Right.
Okay.
So how do we go
Now,
about?
how many questions are you going to ask?
Sorry.
Why don't you discipline yourself?
Okay.
Thank you.
Jazakallah.
Next, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur.
Walaikum salam. Come closer, please.
My name is Dr. Mansoor Ahmed.
Yes.
I work in cardiology and care of the elderly medicine in
That's right.
Poole and Dorset Hospital. Hazur, quite a few of overseas doctors are worried about racism in UK in medical profession and find it difficult to break in the higher circles just because of color and their ethnic origin. I wonder if you could please throw some light on the ways and means of dealing with this problem.
I don't think that you can approach this problem without tackling with a moral problem. It's not an issue which is directly related with healthcare at all. It is just the moral problem of the people of the West in the present situation of the world. Basically, they have always been racists. Never have they been without the seed of racism, except for individuals which are in every society which are born noble and retain their nobility. They are different people altogether. What happened during the Cold War years, they suppressed their racism because it didn't help them at all. The same happened in Germany, the same happened in England, etc., etc. But when the Cold War was over, then these people who didn't belong to their nations or their races, they appeared to be offensive aliens to them. This reaction they must have shown if there was no polarization between Russia or the communist world and the Western world. So that was out of compulsion that they were suppressing this racism in them. Now there is a compulsion. So although still there is a large number of people who are not racist or who have not let their racism surface so far, but most of them are new